Welcome to People Doing Good for Others. Welcome to People Doing Good for Others, where we praise and honor and celebrate those who truly make significant contributions in our communities. I'm Gary York, and I'm grateful that you can be with us today. I want to thank Wilkes Communications, Riverstreet Network, and WIFM for this opportunity, and again, what an honor it is to have you with us. Our featured guest today is Ms. Sherry Carpenter. She's Vice President of Missions with Goodwill Industries, an outstanding nonprofit based in Winston-Salem. She's been there over 20 years. She's a graduate of Virginia Tech, App State, and then came shortly thereafter to Goodwill. So thank you again for being with us, and again our Vice President Sherry Carpenter, and good morning to you, my friend.
Good morning, Gary. Thanks for
having me. And you shared that you grew up in Martinsville and went to Virginia Tech. Just go there as we start.
Yes, sir. Yes, I had the privilege of growing up in Virginia, and my undergraduate is at Virginia Tech, as you mentioned, grad school at Appalachian State, and really was able to start my career at Goodwill right after that. I started working as a vocational evaluator, helping persons find out about employment opportunities and what would work for them. And I've had a chance to grow my career through the years with Goodwill, and I didn't know it was going to become my lifelong passion, but it certainly has.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Your outreach here in Wilkesboro, let's make sure we cover that. It'd be a good time to do that.
Sure, sure. As far as our mission services, we are affiliated with 2 locations here in Wilkesboro. We have the Goodwill Career Connection Center, and in that center, anyone can receive help with job placement services, with training services, connection to other community resources. We're also a partner in the NCWorks Center here in Wilkesboro. And we partner with Division of Workforce Solutions in the High Country Workforce Development Board.
Is that a state funded operation?
It is.
Okay.
It is. So people can receive services at this site. We have staff at this site as well. They can get help transitioning from unemployment into going back to work and getting re-engaged. We also have programs that may assist youth and adults with funding for education and training. So that's very important for people who maybe need to retrain for a different field or continue their education to go back to work.
So a person who is watching us tonight, seeking some help to get started in life. Also, we have a significant prison ministry. You want to talk to that, if you will?
Well, Goodwill, in partnership with Piedmont Triad Regional Council, offers a program called Project Reentry.
Project Reentry.
Project Reentry. And that helps individuals who have been incarcerated or justice affiliated go back to work and re-engage with society. Unfortunately, right now, because of the pandemic, we cannot teach classes inside the prison. But we are engaging with people as soon as they're released from incarceration. Mm-hmm. We're able to help them go to work, to find other connections and resources to help get life back on track. Because you can imagine that you can really become disengaged from the things you need. But we are finding that many employers are willing to hire individuals with backgrounds, and most individuals are doing really well in the workplace.
Sherry Carpenter is the Vice President for the outreach and missions with Goodwill out of Winston-Salem. Do you remember the first day when you became a Goodwill full-timer advocate?
Yes. I remember coming to Goodwill and working with individuals who really maybe were looking more for hope as much as they were for skills, for hope.
Wow.
Yes.
Thank you for that.
Yes.
Hope.
You know, it's amazing sometimes when you believe in somebody, maybe for the first time that anyone has ever really believed in their skills and abilities, how far they can go. And when I saw the power of that, supporting people, just giving them some information that they really did themselves, they maybe completed a training course, or they maybe got their driver's license for the first time, or they learned how to interview. All I did was give them some tools and believe in them. The person did that, and that's when I saw the power of our mission.
The power of our mission is about hope.
It's about hope, and it's about how we treat people.
How to treat people.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Would it be a good time to share the workings of a store, the 89% and some of those,
Sure.
the background for the essence of how we do things?
Sure, absolutely. Most people know Goodwill for our stores and for donating to Goodwill. And that's important because that's how our mission is funded primarily. So 89 cents of every dollar goes back into our mission services. And that's what allows us to have the 22 sites that we have throughout our territory to provide services, as well as the addition of online services that we've added. So all of that makes it possible for us to reach people and provide the things that I'm talking about today. So we certainly want to thank our shoppers and our donors because that's the lifeblood of how we're able to fund the mission.
So Sherry Carpenter, when you talk about stores and 89%, so we leave a garment, a donation, and in 15 minutes I think it's on the floor. Or just a little bit about the inside of a store, how it works.
Sure. Our staff really try to push the donations to the sales floor as quickly as possible, and try to make sure that the inventory is kept fresh for our shoppers so that they can find really good deals, to make sure that the quality is good for individuals that are shopping in our stores, and try to make it a really good customer service experience. There are things that we do in our stores from time to time to really engage the customers. For example, I'd like to mention on April the 3rd, we're having an Easter egg hunt extravaganza, or scavenger hunt, I guess I should call it. And so customers will be able to come into any of the stores that are Goodwills in our 31 counties. And if they'll be able to find things that give them discounts or maybe even give them a free item as a part of the Easter egg hunt. And that's on April the 3rd.
Sherry Carpenter, let's revisit when you were talking about the hope and coming to Goodwill. Some of those progressions, if you will, in your career, as you've started to move, tell us about some places that things you've been doing.
Sure. Well, as you know, personally, we started in Winston-Salem, and we were just in that area. So through the different stages in my career, I've been able to see us grow where we're at within the 31 counties that we serve. So we really went from being one location to being at 22 sites. Some of those are partner sites. And we went from serving a few hundred people a year to about 30,000 people.
30,000.
Approximately 30,000. It was a little bit less last year with the pandemic. And then we've added affiliate organizations such as NCWorks and Crosby Scholars. So that really increases our reach to about 60,000 with our affiliates.
Wow. So what is the day like today? Now you're a 20-plus year veteran. Give us some idea of what Vice President Sherry Carpenter will do say if you're in your office in Winston-Salem. Give us some idea of things that will come by you.
Sure. One of the things that keeps us busy is engaging with our partners and our communities. So while we focus on employment and education as far as our Goodwill mission, we realize that it takes a lot of other things for people to be successful. They may need help with housing. They may need help with childcare. They may need help with other types of funding and resources. So staying in close contact with our partners and finding out how we can work together in the different communities that we serve is a big part of what I do. I certainly like leveraging and advocating for changes where I can. I have an opportunity to serve at the state level on the state commission and the NCWorks State Commission for Workforce Development Services. So I really enjoy that because we look at education and skills on a state level and how we can leverage more people getting credentials and increasing their skills. So I really like working in that area. That takes some of my time to be able to move us as the state of North Carolina to a higher level in the educational rankings.
An individual that comes to us for help, walk through that. Just give an idea of person unemployed, needing a second. As Art Gibble, who just retired, said on a radio interview, we give second, third, and fourth chances.
Absolutely.
Just talk to that person, if you will, say in an interview, walks in and says, I need to get started again.
Sure. Sure, and that's what we see with a lot of people and probably with any of us. If you're looking, where to get started, if you want to either start a job for the first time, or you want to start a new career, or you've maybe just lost your way on what to do next. So it's okay to say, I don't know where to start. So our staff will work with you on what you've done before, how that translates into other skills. They will help you with your resume development. They'll help you with your job search. They'll help connect you to employers in the field that you're working, that you want to go into. And if that's not where you want to be ultimately, they're going to help you with the training along the way. So most of us need to work and train at the same time, so we can keep food on the table and then we can continue
work and train at the same time. Okay.
We find that most people like that because you've got immediate needs and then you've got long-term goals. So they can help you be involved in training programs and continue your career while also working and get to your ultimate goal.
Okay. Wow. Work and train at the same time.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You're involved in the Golden Leaf Foundation. Let's go there, if you will.
Sure. We were very fortunate to receive some funding last year from Golden Leaf. And Golden Leaf is helping us target our rural communities, with Wilkes County being one of those communities. And as I mentioned earlier, it takes a lot of different resources for any of us to be able to re-engage in training and grow our careers. One of the biggest areas that people need help in is child care assistance. Many people, more than ever, are having to help their kids who may be in remote learning or may not have child care for younger children. So the Golden Leaf Funds helps us provide child care assistance for people up to 3 months while they're engaged in training for those who qualify. In some cases, we can also provide technical assistance. We're dealing sometimes with a digital divide, and people may not have the technology that they need to train outside of one of our locations. So we can sometimes help them with those technical gaps as well as some other training funds that are involved. So we're very thankful to Golden Leaf for helping to fund that project.
Okay. All right, let's, we talked about NCWorks. Did we finish that? That's a state-funded program, and you're partners with NCWorks.
We are partners, right?
Like Department of Commerce, or is it under that?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Department of Commerce and Division of Workforce Solutions and the Regional Workforce Board. So in this case, it's the High Country Workforce Board.
Okay.
That's involved, and people can contact the center there. I'll be happy to share the phone number if you like and set up a personal appointment to come in. They don't have to wait in a line or anything like that.
A few moments ago, you talked about online, COVID, and now. Is that share that with us?
Sure. We want to be able to serve people in the way that's best for them. Some people need us in person. They need us face-to-face or mask-to-mask like this. Some people want to engage virtually, and that's fine too. Anyone can go to our website, www.goodwillnwnc.org, and you'll see a training tab, and then you'll be able to engage virtually or virtual services. And you can click on that, and you can either work with a virtual career navigator, You can take classes online, skills classes, you can take them totally online. You can engage in what's called skills on demand. Maybe you just want to quickly learn how to update your resume or to do a job search. We have training that you can click on right there, free of charge. Or you may want to engage in a live workshop that's being conducted on any number of topics and about different industries, what's happening in healthcare, what's happening in manufacturing, what's happening in transportation. So we have Career Quest series that are virtual that people can participate in that way. And some people do both. They may need to see us in person, and then they may want to stay connected virtually as they continue to progress through their career and their education. So we have a lot of different ways that we can work with individuals.
Sherry Carpenter, you mentioned that shortly after App State and the interview, you were just, this is me. This is where I need to be. Your childhood growing up, do you remember a lot of, were there moments of having a servant's heart that came from family? Can you tell us a little bit? You said I was ready at the interview. Tell us about your background a little bit.
Yeah, that's a great question. I grew up in a very rural area, which was really right outside of Martinsville in Patrick County, Virginia. And I saw that a lot of people, not just in that area, but in different areas and in that generation, did not think about continuing their education and the long-term impact of that. So I was very fortunate that I received a scholarship to Virginia Tech, and that propelled me to go on to college and to have that opportunity to build my career. I think I did know at a young age that being with people and engaging with people is what made me happy. Engaging.
Wow.
That's what made me happy, was being around people. I love people who do things behind a desk all day, but I can't do that. I've got to be around people. And so I think from an early age, that's the part that helps this role fit so well with what I like to do.
Okay. The Goodwill, the mission of Goodwill is about hope, you said. Let's talk about a ribbon cutting, a grand opening, and what all goes into, say, the site selection and building the store, and then the leadership team shows and we have a ribbon cutting, and the essence of that, that's the one of the most endearing things about your company. I've been to probably 50 of them, but yeah. I always want to do that.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we know you've been a big supporter of that and been in all of our events like that, so we appreciate that. Certainly when you're talking about a store or perhaps a workforce center, site selection is very important. You want to be in a part of a community that is accessible to your shoppers or your job seekers, depending on what you're putting together. You also want to think about your donation sites. We want to have as many donation sites as possible throughout a territory to make it convenient for people to be able to give their donations to Goodwill. So we have some that are standalone and some that are part of our stores as well. So it's really about looking at what's available in an area that we want to be in, finding the right property, or if we're going to rent or we're going to do a ground build on that store, and then really engaging in that community. So sometimes it could be a second store and we have some connections in that community, and sometimes it could be the first time. And so we never do anything alone. We want to have all those community partners, the leaders such as yourself, the chamber, the educational folks.
Community colleges.
Community colleges, the city and county leaders. All of those individuals help support us when we come into a community. And that's critical because we need everybody's input and we need their support, both for our stores as well as our workforce development centers.
What is the Crosby Scholars? What does that mean?
Crosby Scholars is an affiliate program of Goodwill, and they are a college access program. So they're working in the school system with students from a very young age all the way through high school. And if you enroll as a Crosby Scholar in the counties where that's offered, which is in Forsyth County, Iredell County, and Rowan County, then you receive the support of the Crosby Scholars organization. to help you prepare to go on to post-secondary education. Now, that may be a 4-year college, a 2-year college, a technical college. Any of those are post-secondary educational opportunities, but it fits with the Goodwill mission because we want to help people get the education as young as they can and build their career as young as they can. And so that fits in with what we are doing with both youth and adults, and they have a really strong program inside the school system.
Sherry Carpenter is the Vice President of Goodwill Industries in Winston-Salem. Several times at Christmas, you'd have the annual meeting. An incredible experience. I'm always moved to be a better person after having attended one of those meetings. Tell us about what's the essence of that annual meeting?
Yes, I think you're talking about the event where we recognize our graduate and our achiever of the year.
Yep.
And that meeting takes a lot of work by our great marketing team, I can tell you that. It takes a lot to put it together. But that's really about celebrating individuals who have been successful. So we select someone who has really been successful as a Goodwill graduate and is working with an employer somewhere in our territory. And then we also celebrate someone who's been successful in Goodwill programs and now works for us at Goodwill.
So we hold in the light people that have maybe recovered from some incredibly challenging moments.
Absolutely.
And we want to celebrate the good things that come out of people starting again, maybe.
Absolutely. That's a good way of putting it. Starting again, being successful. And in many cases, when you hear these stories, they're already reaching back and helping somebody else. And that's where we really see it come full circle. And we also recognize our partners, our employers, and our employees at that event that you're talking about.
Yeah. Sherry, what are some new things coming on right now that we might want to talk about for a few minutes? The vision, this continued to where we build more stores, what will we be doing?
Right. Well, you know, we will always build stores where it makes sense to do that, but we have a lot of stores throughout our territory. So we'll continue to look at what business lines make sense for Goodwill that generate revenue back to the mission. So that will be important to us. We want to continue to dive deeper on the mission side into economic mobility. So getting that first job is important, as we've talked about here today. But how do we really help people move up that economic ladder even further? You know, how do we help them take those next steps to remove all the barriers to be successful? And there's so many things that individuals or families can be dealing with. So we'll continue to work with our partners on the whole track of economic mobility and moving along that continuum as part of the work that we're doing over the next number of years.
I know several months ago, I remember that the Goodwill mission funded some needs at Manor High School. And Polly Long is a good friend of ours there. And are you familiar with that?
Well, just was talking with Polly yesterday, and so I think what you're talking about there is that we have a program that's connected with what's called Next Gen Youth Services.
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm. And so Goodwill is a part of that. The Piedmont Triad Workforce Board is a part of that. And Polly and the schools there in Surrey County are a part of that. And so they're helping youth ages 16 to 23 that may have 1 or 2 or 3 barriers. They could be having some academic barriers. They could be a parenting youth. Any number of things. And Polly and her team, as well as this program that's replicated in other parts of our territory, are there to help them get back on track. You know, they may have had that barrier at the moment, but they still can either complete high school, post-secondary, get a great job.
You work with GED programs?
We do, through our community college partners. We work with getting your high school equivalency or your high school diploma as an adult or as a high school student, either way.
Wow. Veterans Affairs.
Yes, we love our veterans, and in most all of our centers, we have programs that are dedicated specifically to serving the unique needs of our veterans and their families. So staff help them with their job search. They help them get access to benefits through other partners that they may not sometimes even know they're eligible for. And then we partner with USSA, where we have some support services dollars that may help them with other needs as well.
I always enjoy seeing the collection centers, and they're always manned. And there's one in Pilot Mountain. Tell us that outreach, if you will.
Yes, for our attended donation centers.
Yeah, I said collection. Yep. Donation center.
I knew exactly what you meant.
Excuse me.
That's important because we want to make it as convenient as possible for individuals and families to donate to Goodwill. And it's important that we have someone at those locations, as you mentioned, to help with the customer service, with the unloading, to make sure that we don't have a pileup of things and look bad in a community. And also to be that face of Goodwill. You know, people know about Goodwill through maybe the only one person that they know from Goodwill. So we want all of our staff and employees to have an idea of what the mission is about, to be able to talk about that if needed, and to connect that back to our shoppers and our donors as well as the people that we serve.
Sherry Carpenter is the Vice President at Goodwill, a dedicated career person. That's your calling to serve. Share a couple of stories with us as we come close to the end about this is what we do. This is who we are.
Yes. I love hearing from the people that we serve. And so a couple of stories that I've just heard in the last couple of weeks from the individuals themselves. We have a young man named Jesse that spent 12 years in federal prison. And he was recently released, and he started working with Project Reentry in Davidson County. And he had done a lot of work himself on the inside with taking as much training as he could while he was incarcerated. And he really worked with one of our counselors there to make sure that his mindset was right to jump back into the world. And he didn't give up. He didn't get hired on the first 1 or 2 applications, but he did get hired. And he's okay with us saying that he works for Chewy Distribution, and he's doing extremely well, making a good wage.
Yeah.
Talked to him just the other day through a video. He's going to be highlighted in our board meeting next week. So he's doing.
You are.
He's doing fabulous.
How wonderful.
Wow. Another young lady, for a quick story, we were working with an individual. This is in Boone, North Carolina, through our NCWorks partnership. She had to drop out of Appalachian State at a young age to go to work. She had to have money. But she really had, her calling was to be in healthcare. So she engaged with our staff at the NCWorks Center, and they were able to help her qualify for funding to get her nursing assistant certification. She didn't stop there. She was working and training, and then she continued on until she now has her nursing degree. And
wow.
She is at, she's working
from
in Winston.
a dropout.
She's working in Winston. She's an essential worker in critical care right now. Wow. So we're very proud of her. So
your heart and your soul is about Goodwill.
Absolutely.
You walk the talk.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We get up every day, and I think I speak for my entire team and our organization when I say this, and we feel that drive to continue to go on, to continue to find ways to serve our communities in many different ways, and to be there for the people that need us.
And we never judge.
Never judge. Thank you for saying that. Right. We meet people where they are, and we embrace them for exactly who they are. Wow.
What an honor to have you with us today, and such an enlightening moment for Wilkes Communications and our mission here, and that you would come up from Winston-Salem and be part of this outreach.
Absolutely.
So, as you talk about hope, and you talk about judgment, and living life, what would happen? So a guy walks in and says, "I can't read. I want to learn to read." What would Goodwill, just take that individual and get him going?
Yeah. Well, I think back to what you were saying. First of all, that's okay. You have other skills. So we'll use those while you're learning to meet your goal of improving your reading skills. So there are all types of partnerships, again, many in partnership with our community colleges, where we could engage this individual with some basic skills training so he could work on those skills. In the meantime, there's still plenty of employment opportunities while he's working on those skills. And making sure that that person feels valued for the skills they have while they're working on the skills that they want to achieve.
So you need income while we're training. We want to do it all at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Most people find that works best for them.
I sense your caring and genuine concern for people, and you're a good fit with Goodwill.
Oh,
It's
thank
the
you.
legacy that I know, and thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you. Sherry Carpenter, Vice President, Goodwill Industries in Winston-Salem, as she shares her hope and that we don't judge, and we are here to help. That's our mission, is to be a helper. And go to your local Goodwill store, and if you have a need, leave some items. 89% of every dollar that goes in there comes back to training and helping folks get going again. So thank you. I'm Gary York, and this is People Doing Good for Others. Promise to be with us next time. Goodbye.